Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another Masters of the Universe Masterverse figure, this time a Revelation and a Princess of Power. These I'm behind on, very late getting in on the run for these, but I still wanted to cover them. We have two. We have our Horde style Skeletor, where he was Hordak's apprentice, if you will, being trained by Hordak. And so this character was seen very briefly in some dream or flashback type sequences, but this guy is looking cool. There is a artistic image of him on the bookend, and then there he is on the back panel looking amazing there. Just look at there, and you can see how far back this wave goes, but I'm just getting this. I had done all these others. There is his bio. If you'd like to take a quick peek at that and pause and read that, you can. All right, I want us to go ahead and look at a second figure this go around before we head over to Snake Mountain. And that is Catra. Catra, that's right. And I have the classics version of this one we'll be looking at in comparisons, but I don't have the full figure and all the accessories because I bought her used on eBay a long time ago. So I don't even have all the masks that one came with. Just pre-warning you, but this one came out during the 40th anniversary type celebration, but I didn't really like the face sculpt on this one, so I waited on her and eventually got her for like $15 on Amazon. You can see the cool image of her on the side. Wish she looked that cool in the actual action figure, but then there's an awesome also image of her on the back as well. And there is a quick bio. If you'd like to pause and read that on Catra, you certainly can. All right, we're going to break open Catra and Horde Skeletor and look at them both over here in the valley of Snake Mountain.
Deep behind the anvils of evil in the Valley of Snake Mountain, there lies evil such as Hordak, who is ready, along with many other minions of evil in his clan, to take a look at his apprentice, Horde Skeletor, as well as a faithful companion who has helped him many times, Catra. And we're gonna first take a look at their accessories.
And first of all, our Horde Skeletor comes with two sets of hands. First of all, these balled up fisted hands, and then he comes with a form of a pointer finger gripping hand, as well as a left weapon holding hand, which allows him to hold that Havoc staff. The Havoc staff in this version has a translucent ram ornament upon the top, resting on top. You can see it shining through there, really cool. And then we have Catra, who comes with two sets of hands, two gripping hands, both horizontally hinged, as well as a clawing open palm style hand. I have one of each equipped here. She also comes with her cat mask, her enchanted mask, because with that she can also cover her eyes and transform into a panther, a cat. And it was a panther, I think, in the Filmation Princess of Power cartoon. And then she comes with a wand with a green jewel at the top that allows her to do some enchanting. And then she has a shield with a cat molding inscribed or embedded into the shield with a clear jewel. A clear jewel. A lot of the Princess of Power princesses came with a jewel of some color. And here we find that Catra has a clear jewel in her shield. So she's looking amazing. She has a soft goods cape that is attached to her collar there, as you can see. And we didn't mention it over here in Horde Skeletor, but he also has a soft good cape, which is attached with Velcro, very similar to the one that came with Aldria, and I think it's just Velcro differently on his back and neck area, but I think it may very well be the same cape with the way it's designed. But we're going to now look at our Horde Skeletor and Catra's articulation. And first, taking a look at our Horde Skeletor, I did remove his cape just so that you could see him a little better and we can check out his articulation. I also wanted you to be able to see his insignia, the Horde insignia around his collar here. But I believe that face sculpt, that Skeletor face sculpt looks really good. It's a very bone type color instead of the typical yellow like we've been getting in some of the forms. And we'll go ahead and remove the Havoc staff here, and you can see again how nice and detailed that looks in that translucent red. Make that kind of glow with some lighting effects, and would make that really cool to be able to be enchanted and powered up to do some cool things when he was training to be Skeletor, the evil master of destruction. But there is his Havoc staff. All right. Moving on to the articulation. He's really not going to be able to look up at all because of this hood hitting the back of the collar here. So that's as far up as he's going to be able to go. He is going to be able to look down slightly, and so that's, you know, good enough, I believe, there. Not really any tilt to speak of. I mean, very slight, but he will be able to turn left and right. He's going to be able to get full 360 with the arms. He'll be able to come out at a full T pose there. He does have bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which this one seems to be locked up a little bit, but with the girth of that bicep, that's about, there we go, it went then. You're going to be able to get in really well in there. You see how it bends all the way in. He has horizontal hinged hands on all sets, on both sets, and will swivel there, and that is the same on both sides. He's going to be able to crunch forward that much. He's going to be able to bend back that much. He also has that nice, I call it tripod smooth diaphragm, so he's going to be able to get a full hula hoop motion at the diaphragm, as well as a really nice swivel at the waist. He also gets full splits despite the skirt, and this is a rubber plastic style skirt, which the texture almost fools you to make you think it's cloth, but it is a rubber, a very soft rubber, and it gets out of the way with the splits there. And you'll be able to get the drop down method as well, if you can see that as I do it, lifting his skirt a little bit here. You can go up and then you can go down and slide that back in place. He has the thigh rotation. He's also going to be able to kick up a really good amount. He also gets double jointed knees, which go way back, and then he has a swivel at the boot. He also gets full tiptoes and go up all the way. I don't like the fact that they didn't paint his toenails here like we got in the regular Skeletor. It's like they just missed out on doing that. Just lazy, didn't paint it. And then you have rockers, really good rockers with a peg hole in the bottom. But these feet are pretty much, I mean, this body mold is pretty much the same, with the exception of the improved tripod style, I say smooth diaphragm that we didn't see in the first several waves. But the arm mold and the hand mold and the leg molds, everything seems to be about the same, even the feet, but they just didn't paint the toenails. But of course, this head mold is a whole new mold, a whole different style face, and it looks really good, really nice and detailed. So I really like that. Like the way they did the hood and the texturing in the hood. So that looks really cool. You see the little silver rivets that they painted even on these little flaps here on the side. Silver crossbone there on the front. Even a little bit of detail of silver on the little dots there, the rivets on the back. And this is a removable piece. You can just pop that open and remove his chest piece. The skirt piece is non-removable. But I really like this Skeletor. I think I like him better than I originally thought I would, but he is looking really nice. And of course, again, this cape, and I think it is different than Audria's simply because it does have the peg hole, and they may have added that later, but there's a hole in there for his neck to go in. But then you have these parts that wrap around, and they just had it double wrapped with the little Velcro piece. So if they didn't use the same piece as Audria, they maybe took the same material and just remapped it and manipulated it a little differently. But you are going to be able to put this on him in different ways. It's more of a satin look on the inside, and then on the outside it's more of a matte felt type feel to it. But really cool soft goods cape that's big enough to do some things. Of course, there's no wire in it or anything, but that covers everything that he comes with and his articulation. Now, to take a look at Catra's articulation, let's bring her on in here. She's looking really nice. And I will say, as I look at her face a little closer, I think that I like it a little better than just seeing it in images and even through the package. It is a pretty nice face. I just feel like that some of these Masterverse figures, with the exception of Evil Lyn, they just haven't done the best job on the face sculpts, but they nailed Evil Lyn. I mean, all three incarnations of her, they got good. But for some reason, some of these others, I didn't like She-Ra's that much. Personally, some of you liked the Sorceress of Grayskull. I didn't like hers, 100%. It was okay. Let's see if this comes off here. Yeah, it comes off. But man, look, they put these big gashes in the side of her head. I really don't like that. Okay, see, they should have given us two face sculpts, two head sculpts. One with this mask on and one without this mask, because that's unacceptable. I mean, you shouldn't have that huge, and you can put it on to cover her face so she can transform into the cat, but yeah, we don't want these huge giant gaps in our action figure's head. Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. I don't like that at all. And it's designed so that it can technically, if you wanted to, you have it up here like that, and then you could actually shift it down without taking it off. That's the way it's designed, like a visor. It can slide up. That's the reason it has the long track on the side of her head. But there again, they could have provided us two head sculpts and made up for that, in my opinion. They could have had her, with an open mouth here with the face thing going up and down, and they could have given us another head sculpt without the mask, that way. I don't know. I just, that's me, but it's a really soft mask. It's not real hard, so you're not going to break it, and it's designed well. I like the way they have like a ponytail coming out the top of her head, and it comes down, her hair comes down into a nice full locks of hair down here. And again, she has that soft goods cape. Let's go ahead and pop this head off, and you can see that her collar is attached. It's sewn in to that soft goods purple cape, and this is pretty much just some cheap very thin material that's basically the same on both sides. You can see that they did a good job molding in her collarbone. They even gave her some muscularity, it looks like, kind of like we've seen in the Masterverse females, which is nice. I like that. Get a little bit of muscle tone, just some toning there. Looks better if you bend in the double jointed elbow like so. Looks a little better that way. But there again, that double jointed elbow just sometimes breaks up the aesthetics quite a bit. But let's go ahead and put the head back on without the cape just for a moment so you can see what that looks like. And then you'll be able to see too that she's able to look up about that much. She's able to look down about that much. There we go. She's going to be able to get a little bit of head pivot, not a huge generous amount, but a little bit. She's going to be able to look side to side with no problem. The hair does not get in the way. It actually lifts up out of the way, which is nice. And I guess you could count this as an articulation because again, that mask slides right on that little track. There's even some indentation at the ears, which is nice. And the green is recessed back into the mask slightly as well. But then it can slide right back up more onto the forehead area to uncover her face. Alright, her arms will get 360. She does have better than T-pose going on with those arms. She does get bicep swivel, and again with some extra bicep and tricep definition going on there. Double jointed elbows, which get a range all the way in. She has horizontally hinged claw style hands on both sides if you want, or you can put the horizontally hinged weapon holding hands on both sides, but they swivel and hinge. And then on to the diaphragm here, she's going to be able to crunch forward. She's pretty much crunching forward already. It's kind of like she's got bad posture. She's kind of hunched over in the package, but you can actually sit her up like that, and it's basically not a bend back. It's more of a sit up straight or slouch forward. So it's not really even a crunch forward more than it is a slouch forward or a stand up straight. So you don't get a whole lot there. You are going to get a little bit of tilt in that diaphragm, but you don't get a lot of turn. So you don't get that smooth tripod style diaphragm here with Catra. Now up inside of here, there is the ability to turn at the waist, but it's underneath the skirt dress area, but you can turn it. It's just not seen. You'd have to kind of hold these legs under the skirt and then rotate it, and she will turn at the waist like so. And then she's going to be able to get full splits. The skirt does split out of the way. She doesn't have drop down method on this. This came before that started in this wave. She does have thigh rotation. She's going to be able to, it's really kind of stiff, but she'll be able to kick up about that far. She'll be able to kick not much back. She does have double jointed knees, which look pretty good here. And then she also has the ability to go almost full tiptoe up a decent amount. She has rocker with the peg hole on the bottom, and also has a boot cut. So all of this is very well executed and looks pretty good for Catra. I like her. I think she looks good. I think she looks better with her cape on. So let's go ahead and snap that back on right quick. And there you go. And see, that's the reason I say I really wish they had provided her with at least maybe an open mouth, a second alternate head that allowed us not to have the tracks on the side or something. Because there she is, in attack mode, and she looks all serious like she's not doing anything, whereas she should have more of an attack face. I think she's got this awesome attack style shield. She's got her charming style wand or staff thing here that she's ready to cast a spell and do something real on some princes of power. And she's looking good. But I do wish they'd provided a second head sculpt. That's my biggest complaint. And but I like her accessories. I like her cape. Looking good back there. It kind of automatically folds on the back. But everything's looking cool. Of course, you can see the Horde symbol on the front of the dress that go up into the bosom area, as well as the Horde symbol on the belt here. So she is definitely decked out as a Horde queen, a Horde woman of evil that works with Hordak. And you see the straps. It's a larger strap here, so her arm can go all the way through, and then a smaller strap that you can put a smaller hand, either the gripping hand or the claw hand. Either one works here if you like. But that's a nice shield, definitely bigger than the ones we got with Classics. And speaking of Classics, now let's do some comparisons. All right, taking a look at this Skeletor, we can see here the body compared to the original Wave 1 Skeletor. Now, neither one of these heads are the original. That's a Hordak MX head there, and I forget whose head this is with the magnetic plates. You can actually magnetically remove the open mouth or have a closed mouth one. But and then I like the Hordak MX. I also have a closed mouth one of that style attached to this Revelation regular Skeletor. Now that's a Classics axe with the crystal ball on it, but just have him, you know, decked out there to give a little change. And this one has the cape and that one doesn't. And the crossbones was not, you know, completely attached to the strap. This one is. The crossbone is all intact, and you have a different, really a different painted. I thought it was different in this one. It's just painted different, but because it's painted different, it looks like the Horde symbol, if you notice there, which is very interesting. Like the bat type Horde symbol. And then you have the 40th anniversary Skeletor that came in that 2-pack, the San Diego Comic-Con with He-Man, the 40th anniversary He-Man. He has a metal sword and a metal Havoc staff head. The staff is plastic, but the head is metal. And then we have the New Eternia style. I don't remember what you called it, but it's kind of like a Viking, but no, that was Viking He-Man, and then this was just the New Eternia Skeletor. It came with like the Demo Man style head, and then this Skeletor hand, this more classic Skeletor head, and then just more of a plain, just lavender purple Havoc staff that was different from the one that came with the Revelation style. And this one had like the lighter blue color here, and all of these have different color skin tones. You have a lighter blue here in this Skeletor, then you had more of the bright blue like we saw in Classics, and even I think the Vintage was more of this color with the bigger chest, kind of like He-Man had the bigger chest as well. And then you have, of course, this more of a purplish color to our Horde Skeletor, and all these heads are different too. These three head sculpts are all the ones that Mattel did make, and this one's articulated here. The head is articulated, the mouth, the jaw is articulated. But these two over here, like I said, are custom heads, but they have a different skin tone as well, and different Havoc staffs. I think this new Havoc staff, the translucent red one, is more shaped after the Revelation Havoc staff, just with the translucent head instead of the other, which makes sense being it is a Revelation Horde Skeletor. But he's looking cool. He's definitely got a different skirt than all the rest of them do. There again, the claws were painted on these two. They weren't painted on this one, and he had different feet altogether. He had more toes. These only had 3 toes, where this one had 5 toes. And then the 40th anniversary had only 3 toes and a darker style claw foot. All right, so there are your Skeletor comparisons. And here is Hordak next to our Horde Skeletor. You have the Master and the Padawan, I guess, in a way. Hordak training Skeletor. But if you remember, before Skeletor was Skeletor and got his face pretty much eaten off, either depending on which story you go with, either the acid that King Randor, or Randor, his half-brother, threw on Keldor to cause his face to look like this, or if you believe that when Hordak zapped Skeletor with the Havoc staff to try to bolster his powers, I guess, something like that. In the Revolution, kind of explained that his face became a skeleton and face kind of melted away, making Keldor melt away completely. But here's Keldor, and Keldor was King Myro's son, just like Randor was King Myro's son, but King Myro had a fling with a Gar woman on an island and had a child, and had also had a child with his queen, King Myro did, and so that was King Randor, and or became King Randor eventually. So Keldor is Randor's half-brother, as we said, as you know, and so here you have the three of them together. Here he is before he was Skeletor, and here he is after he becomes Skeletor and receives the power of the Havoc. And there's the mastermind behind it all, Hordak himself. All right, now let's look at some comparisons with Catra. And here is our Masterverse Princes of Power Catra on the left, and the Classics Princes of Power Catra on the right. And even though she's showing her age, I guess in a way, this figure, as far as limited articulation, pins in the knees and the elbows and things like that, even a plastic cape, I still say this figure is more beautiful in the face, even in the body in a lot of respects, and just has so much better detail, just like that Hordak insignia on the front. Just looking stellar here. I like the mask even better here than this one. I don't know why. Just really cool all the way around, both of these figures. But I do, definitely just like this head sculpt. Now these heads on the Classics Princes of Power females did not pop off very easily. You might get heated up, of course, in boiling water. So I'm not really going to try to do that because I don't want to mess up the peg underneath. I've had a lot of problems trying to remove those in the past. If you can get it on there, if you really wanted to, you probably could, I'm assuming, but the skin tone is not going to look right, and I just don't think it's going to fit. Her head looks like it may be a little larger than the Masterverse head, but there you can see the comparison. Now when the mask is pulled down over the eyes, as we were talking about, she's supposed to turn into a panther. Now this one's kind of small, but it's the one I've been using to put beside my Classics Catra. But I do have the pre-ordered Tigra by Fire and Ice with the Shaitan panther that's going to be larger. So I'll probably replace this panther with that one because it has the two head sculpts as well. But anyway, there is your Catras side by side, looking awesome. You can see the comparison of these two together there. All right, thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave review, and come back and see us again soon. Here are all of our Masterverse Princess of Power Horde themed figures so far. We have Leech, we have Catra, we have Shadow Weaver back there, we have Hordak himself, we have Horde in training Skeletor, we have our Grizzlor, and they are looking amazing. Masterverse is doing a really good job staying true to these classic concepts and yet even adding a little flair of their own. So I'm enjoying them. So nice. I think out of all of these, my least favorite probably is Catra, just because of her face sculpt and the way they did her head with those cutouts on the side. Who knows, maybe we can get a customized head for her eventually from someone. But anyway, we are looking forward to seeing you next time. We have some Thundercats on the way that we'll be able to review soon. Be blessed, and we'll talk to you again next time. Here's some photos in the photo gallery.